Which is a characteristic of a defensive driver? A. Laziness. B. Skill. C. Passivity. D. Easily distracted. B. Skill. Good defensive drivers have the skills to operate a vehicle safely through traffic without endangering anyone else on the road. A defensive driver is aware of the blind spots of the vehicle in front of them. A good defensive driver will scan the road ahead, avoid being distracted, and maintain road discipline. You experience an incident at work that has left you feeling angry. When you get to your car, you should A. Play the radio loudly so you won't think about it. B. Drive fast on the interstate to let off steam. C. Take a few minutes to cool off before you begin your drive home. D. Stop at your favorite bar and have a few drinks before driving home. C. Take a few minutes to cool off before you begin your drive home. Persons who are upset, angry, or otherwise distracted by their emotions should take time to cool off before driving a car. Taking out frustrations or anger while driving is exercising very poor judgment and is very dangerous to both the driver and others on the road. Signs indicating areas of public recreation are A. Orange. B. Red. C. Green. D. Brown. D. Brown. Signs that are brown indicate areas of cultural and historical significance or of public recreation. They can be a helpful resource when traveling in unfamiliar locations. If you are following a motorcycle, your following distance should be at least A. 4 seconds. B. 3 seconds. C. 2 seconds. D. 1 second. A. 4 seconds. Increase your following distance to at least 4 seconds when following a motorcycle. If the motorcycle and its rider should fall, you will need extra space to avoid the obstacle.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
To avoid being in a truck or bus driver's blind spot, you should A. Never pass them. B. Avoid driving alongside them and avoid tailgating. C. Flash your lights at them. D. Sound your horn. B. Avoid driving alongside them and avoid tailgating. Because a large vehicle, such as a truck or bus, has large blind spots to its sides and rear, avoid driving alongside such a vehicle and do not tailgate one. Drivers may not park within fill in the blank of a fire hydrant. A. 30 feet. B. 20 feet. C. 15 feet. D. 50 feet. C. 15 feet. In Louisiana, it is against the law to park within 15 feet of a fire hydrant. A steady green light at an intersection means that you A. Must slow down and prepare to stop. B. Must stop and check for oncoming traffic before proceeding. C. May drive through the intersection if the road is clear. D. May not turn right. C. May drive through the intersection if the road is clear. A steady green light means you may drive through the intersection if the road is clear. You may also turn right or left on a steady green light unless a sign prohibits the turn. When turning, you must yield to other vehicles and pedestrians within the intersection. When adjusting your rearview mirror, you should be able to clearly see A. Your own reflection. B. The passengers in the backseat. C. The entire rear window. D. Most of the lane next to you. C. The entire rear window. Adjust your inside rearview mirror so you can see the entire rear window from the driver's seat. You should have to move only your eyes, not your head, when using this mirror. The most effective safety restraints in a traffic crash are: A. Only a lap and shoulder belt. B. Only an airbag. C. Both a lap, shoulder belt and an airbag. D. No safety restraints. C. Both a lap, shoulder belt and an airbag. Safety belts can double your chance of surviving a crash and more than double your chance of avoiding serious injury. Airbags, when used properly with safety belts, provide additional protection in a front-end crash. You should wear both shoulder and lap belts. Two solid yellow lines on the pavement mean: A. Passing is allowed for drivers from both directions. B. Passing is not allowed. C. Passing is allowed if you are at the top a hill. D. Passing is allowed during daylight only. B. Passing is not allowed. Yellow lines tell you that the traffic on the other side of the lines is moving in the opposite direction. You should never cross two solid yellow lines to pass from either direction. Coming to a complete stop at an intersection, yielding to cross traffic, pedestrians, and then proceeding through the intersection when the way is clear corresponds with: A. A solid red light. B. A flashing yellow light. C. A solid green light. D. A flashing red light. D. A flashing red light. A flashing red traffic light means the same thing as a stop sign. You must come to a complete stop, yield to cross traffic and pedestrians, and then proceed when the way is clear. When a stop is required at an intersection and no markings appear to indicate a stop line or crosswalk, a driver: A. Is not required to stop. B. Is required to slow down to make sure crossing traffic is clear. C. Should stop only at a place where they can see at least 200 feet on either side, even if they have to enter the intersecting roadway. D. Should stop where they have a clear view of approaching traffic before they enter the intersecting roadway. D. Should stop where they have a clear view of approaching traffic before they enter the intersecting roadway. If there is no stop line or crosswalk, you should stop at the point nearest to the intersecting roadway where you can get a view of approaching traffic. You should not enter the intersecting roadway to gain a better view. If a transit vehicle is signaling to re-enter the main roadway following a stop, you must: A. Honk to let them know you're there. B. Move to the left lane. C. Yield. D. Speed up to pass. C. Yield. You must yield to any transit vehicle that is signaling to pull back onto the main roadway after it has stopped to load or unload passengers. Change lanes, slow down, or stop to allow the bus safe re-entry into traffic. When traffic lights are horizontal instead of vertical, the red light is: A. On the right. B. In the middle. C. On the left. D. On a separate traffic signal. C. On the left. In some metropolitan areas, traffic lights are horizontal instead of vertical. On these signals, the red light is on the left, the yellow light is in the middle, and the green light is on the right. This road sign means A. Cars in right lane must slow down. B. No left turn. C. Merge. D. Pass only in the right lane. C. Merge. This sign indicates a merge ahead. It warns that two lanes of traffic moving in the same direction are about to become one. You are turning onto a two-lane road divided by a broken yellow line. You know immediately that A. You are on a two-way road. B. You are on a one-way road. C. The road is under repair. D. You must stay to the left of the broken yellow lines. A. You are on a two-way road. Yellow centerlines are used to separate traffic moving in opposite directions. Broken lines may be crossed to pass slower-moving traffic when it is safe to do so. When driving down a long or steep hill, you should A. Check your mirrors for speeding traffic behind you. B. Assume all traffic is maintaining a consistent speed. C. Watch over your shoulder for traffic behind you. D. Hold down your brake pedal to control traffic speeds. A. Check your mirrors for speeding traffic behind you. Check your mirrors for vehicles approaching quickly when you are traveling down hills or mountains. Vehicles often build up speed when being driven down a steep grade. Be especially alert to large trucks and buses that may be going too fast. The correct way to use a freeway exit ramp is to A. Slow down before entering the exit ramp. B. Slow down once moving onto the exit ramp. C. Keep your speed constant once in the exit ramp. D. Pass slower traffic in the exit ramp. B. Slow down once moving onto the exit ramp. When using a freeway exit ramp, do not slow down until you move onto the exit ramp. When a curb is painted, fill in the blank. It indicates a handicap parking restriction. A. Blue. B. Yellow. C. White. D. Red. A. Blue. Painted curbs indicate parking restrictions. When a curb is painted blue, it indicates a handicap parking restriction. The highway transportation system is made up of A. People. B. Vehicles. C. Roads. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. The highway transportation system consists of three major components: people, vehicles, and roads. It is a complex system with many diverse elements. This sign means A. No left turn. B. Flagger ahead. C. Two-way left turn. D. Turn right or go through. A. No left turn. Regulation signs regulate traffic speed and movement, displaying rules which drivers must obey. This regulation sign means that left turns are prohibited. A driver should be extra alert to motorcyclists, bicyclists, and pedestrians because A. They're difficult to see in traffic. B. They obey different traffic laws than larger motor vehicles. C. They always have the right of way. D. They don't have rear-view mirrors. A. They're difficult to see in traffic. In many collisions with motorcycles, bicycles, and pedestrians, drivers reported that they were looking but still did not see the smaller vehicle or pedestrian. These can be more difficult to spot in traffic than passenger vehicles because they are smaller, may move faster, and have less noticeable lighting. To prevent collisions with these smaller and less protected road users, drivers should always be alert to the presence of motorcycles, bikes, and pedestrians. In winter weather, shaded areas on the roads A are affected in the same way as the rest of the road. B freeze after the rest of the road. C freeze before the rest of the road. D thaw out before the rest of the road. C freeze before the rest of the road. During the winter, use extra caution when driving in shaded areas. They can freeze before and remain icy longer than the rest of the road. This road sign means A. The road ahead turns sharply right, then left. B. The road ahead turns sharply left, then right. C. The road ahead curves to the left. D. Construction ahead. A. The road ahead turns sharply right, then left. This sign indicates that the road ahead will turn sharply to the right and then to the left. This road sign means A. Steep grade ahead. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. C. Low ground railroad crossing. D. Low clearance. D. Low clearance. This sign indicates that the overpass ahead has a low clearance. You should not proceed if your vehicle is taller than the height shown on the sign, in this case, 13 feet 6 inches. Many crashes are caused by A. Drivers traveling too fast for conditions. B. Drivers consistently checking their mirrors and blind spots. C. Drivers yielding the right-of-way. D. Drivers maintaining a 4-second following distance. A. Drivers traveling too fast for conditions. Many crashes are caused by drivers who are driving too fast for conditions. Always drive within the legal speed limits and decrease your speed anytime conditions are less than perfect. A driver approaching a flashing red traffic signal must A. Slow down at the light. B. Drive carefully without stopping. C. Merge to the right. D. Stop before entering the intersection. D. Stop before entering the intersection. A flashing red light means that you must stop, yield to traffic and pedestrians, and go only when it is safe. At a railroad crossing, a flashing red light indicates that a train is approaching. Yield to the train, and go only when the lights have stopped flashing and all other active warning devices deactivate. A single broken yellow line down the center of a 2-lane road indicates A. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are not permitted to pass. B. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. C. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are not permitted to pass. D. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. B. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. Yellow lines are used to separate traffic moving in opposite directions. Dashed lines indicate that drivers directly next to the line are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. When approaching an accident scene, you should A. Keep your attention on your driving. B. Keep moving. C. Stop if you are involved or if emergency help has not yet arrived. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Do not stop at an accident scene unless you are involved or emergency help has not yet arrived. Keep your attention on your driving and keep moving, watching for people who might be on or near the road. Never drive to the scene of an accident, fire, or other disaster just to look. If you need to stop quickly and your vehicle is not equipped with an anti-lock braking system (ABS), you should A. Hold down the brake pedal. B. Firmly pump your brakes. C. Lightly tap the brakes. D. Release the brake pedal. B. Firmly pump your brakes. Pumping the brakes is generally the best way to stop a car in an emergency. The car will stop quickly and you will also be able to continue steering. When traffic lights are horizontal, the yellow light is A. On the right. B. In the middle. C. On the left. D. On a separate traffic signal. B. In the middle. In some metropolitan areas, traffic lights are horizontal instead of vertical. On these signals, the red light is on the left, the yellow light is in the middle, and the green light is on the right. You are coming to a railroad crossing where the crossing signals are flashing. You should A. Stop and look for a train. B. Slow down and look for a train. C. Look for a train, then speed up. D. Do what the vehicle ahead of you does. A. Stop and look for a train. When approaching a railroad crossing, you must stop your vehicle no closer than 15 feet from the nearest rail if an installed electric or mechanical signal is giving warning of an approaching train. Be aware of other warning signs that may indicate an oncoming train, including seeing a lowered crossing gate or hearing an oncoming train. When you want to change lanes, you should wait for a minimum. Fill in the blank. Gap in traffic. A. 1 second. B. 2 second. C. 3 second. D. 4 or 5 second. D. 4 or 5 second. Before changing lanes, you should identify a 4 or 5 second gap in traffic in the lane you wish to enter. Signal, check your mirrors, and look over your shoulder in the direction of the lane change. Adjust your speed and steer into the lane before canceling your turn signal. Compared to driving during the day, driving at night is A. Less dangerous. B. No more or less dangerous. C. More dangerous. D. Easier on your eyes. C. More dangerous. Driving at night is more dangerous than driving during the day for several reasons. It is harder to see in the dark, you may be temporarily blinded by the glare from other vehicles' lights, and there are likely to be more drivers on the road who are tired or under the influence. When approaching a flashing red traffic light, drivers should A. Drive through the intersection if there is no crossing traffic. B. Continue driving, as they have the right of way. C. Stop if a police officer is nearby. D. Treat the light like a stop sign. D. Treat the light like a stop sign. Flashing red lights are used at dangerous intersections. Treat them like stop signs. This sign means A. Sharp turn ahead, slow down. B. Work crew ahead. C. Side road. D. Playground ahead. A. Sharp turn ahead, slow down. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns drivers that there is an upcoming sharp turn and that they should lower their speed accordingly. If you're going to turn left onto a one-way street, you should complete the turn into A. the right lane, B. the lane closest to your previous lane, C. either lane, D. neither lane. B. the lane closest to your previous lane. You should always turn from the lane that is closest to the direction you want to go. Turn into the lane closest to your previous lane. Blood alcohol content (BAC) depends on each of the following, except A. your body weight, B. how much you drink, C. how much time passes between drinks, D. how physically fit you are. D. how physically fit you are. Your blood alcohol content (BAC) depends on how much alcohol you drink, how much time passes between drinks, and your weight. It is not affected by the type of alcoholic beverages you drink, your level of physical fitness, or how well you can hold your liquor. Which of the following statements is true? A. Signal at least 100 feet before changing lanes to pass and ensure there is no oncoming traffic. B. Use your mirrors and look over your left shoulder to check your blind spot when passing to the left. C. When passing, wait until you can see both headlights of the passed car in your rearview mirror before returning to your original lane. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. When passing, you must always signal at least 100 feet in advance of your lane change. Always check behind you in your mirrors and look over your shoulder to check your blind spot. Wait until you can see both headlights of the passed car in your rearview mirror before returning to your original lane. Fluorescent yellow-green signs indicate A. School zones, B. Hospitals, C. Speed limits, D. Railroad crossings. A. School zones. Fluorescent yellow-green is used as the background color for pedestrian, bicycle, and school warning signs. Use extra caution when driving around these signs.